Good afternoon. I am Pete, also known as Risk for Rewards, or over on Twitter known as @Risk for Rewards. Currently got around 19,400 followers over on Twitter and just gone over 1,500 here on YouTube. Appreciate all the support over the last month or so. The YouTube is fairly fresh and new for myself. I've been on other people's YouTubes, but didn't really have too much myself. We set it up just before Cheltenham properly, and we've gained about 1,000 followers in the last 5-6 weeks, so it's all going well. Going to be doing plenty more videos coming up through the flat season. I'll be doing previews, and I think the reviews work really well. Coming on here afterwards on the Sunday or Monday to talk about the racing and look to see where horses are going to go further forward. Because at the end of the day, 9 out of 10 people watch a race and then they want to know where it's going to run next to see if they can get a price on it. So if you're not following, if you're not subscribed, if you click the link below and subscribe, just means when you log on to YouTube, be it on your TV or on your laptop or whatever, or on your phone, it just comes up with my video as soon as it's released. So you're not waiting around to see if I put it up on Twitter, and if I don't put a link or anything on Twitter, you just get it straight away. So it does benefit, obviously, to follow if you enjoy the videos. If you've got any comments, any questions, anything, just throw them on the bottom and I'll answer them. I try to get back to everyone. And any likes are much appreciated. If you are still enjoying the videos, we've had loads of good reports back from everybody, and it's all been going well. So obviously yesterday, phenomenal, and at the end of the day, it's the end of an era, the end of the flat season. Highlights got to be King George having Brave Man's game so long out, and being so passionate and strong on him, and I think everyone followed in. The Charlie Hall Chase, obviously at 2-1 when he beat Ahoy Senor, then following up in the King George, and then obviously we went across to Cheltenham. And highlight of Cheltenham probably the Friday: Impervious 28-1, Lossiemouth 16-1, Galloping Deschamps 6-1, and Irocco 8-1. I mean, that was an absolutely incredible day. And I just thought, okay, and I've got people messaging saying, oh, I want to join the Discord, I want to join, I follow you on Twitter, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I was thinking, flipping heck, I'm not going to be able to keep this up, just because obviously this time of season it normally goes very flat. And for whatever reason, we've just been very fortunate, like as in the Scottish National. So in fact, no, it wasn't Scottish National. It was the weekend before. It was obviously Aintree. So Aintree, the Grand National, steady enough meeting. Was nothing spectacular. Had a good few winners. Saturday was good. Had an 8-1 winner for the Skeltons just before the National, and then obviously Correct Rambler 33-1 anti-post. 12-1 on the day if you didn't have any anti-post. So either way, a brilliant result to the end of the meeting. Then that rolled into last week, the Scottish National, obviously Kitty's Light, and then Cooper's Cross coming second. So a lot of people on the 109-1 forecast. Kitty's Light was brilliant in itself, and then obviously that rolled onto this week. So I'll go through Punchestown as it is, but like a few of the highlights from this week, we had, don't get me wrong, of course I had losers, and I'm not going to stand here and tell you all the like 4-9 shots or whatever, but we had Byally Stock 18-1 winning the handicap, Ballybourne Belter 10-1, Classical Dream I actually put in the Discord group, anti-post at 9-2, I think went off either 3-1 or 5-2, obviously won. It's on the Line 6-1, Ione or A1, however they want to call it, yesterday 5-1, Seddon 13-2. Sam Brown 9-1. I thought the race was wrapped yesterday. That was game over, but obviously fell. That would have been a good winner. Kitty's Light back to back. Most people got about 4-1 or 9-2 on that. It was sent off 5-2. And then obviously Hewitt, the short price nap yesterday, just looked like an absolute shoe-in. Didn't win like one, but at the end of the day, he got the job done. So it has just been an incredible few weeks, truth be told. Like as in, I couldn't have pictured it to go that way. I thought it would be good, or I hoped that it would be good. But especially in the handicaps, like you're looking like the Ballystock and Ballybourne Belter, there's about 45 horses across those two races. In the Ballystock race, I put 2 horses in, and the Ballybourne Belter, I only put 1 in. So 3 horses out of about 48 to get the winner in both. It's brilliant. But at the end of the day, I don't want to stand there and say, oh, I can do this, I can do that, because you're only as good as your last race. So fortunately for me, it was Seddon yesterday. However, when I come on here probably next week and do the review, I'll be like, sorry guys, I had 1 winner and 6 losers. It's just the way it happens, and that's why I'm always straight up with you, because at the end of the day, if I come on here and I've put up, say, 30 horses, well, not 30, that's probably extreme, but say 15 horses across Punchestown, and all of them have lost, I'd stand here and I'll tell you exactly why and what happened, why I thought it was a good choice, what went wrong, what I got wrong. Like yesterday, I got Echoes and Rain wrong. The dogs were barking yet again, and I got it wrong. But that's the way it is. I'm not going to stand here and be like, oh no, I didn't do that. I did. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to give you content. I'm not here to tell you I am the world's greatest tipster. I'm here to hopefully give you content so you can read it and decide, I don't agree with him, I do agree with him, I agree with what he's saying, but I want to back a different horse. Anyway, enough of all of that. the one major question that loads of people have kept asking again and again and again is how do I get in the Discord, and where it is. Discord has been closed for Punchestown to allow all new members to settle in, and I believe they have done. Obviously, they were very happy with yesterday's results, but they're very happy on the whole week, I think. And it's not just about the racing and all of that. There seems to be a good group of lads, and they all seem to be enjoying bouncing off each other, chatting away, putting each other's naps up. And there's a few guys in there that they know their apples. They're putting naps up each day, and their naps are winning. They're not even looking around to see what my selections are because their naps are winning anyway. And that's what it's all about. There's a place where you can put your bet slips, like winning slips, a place where you can put your naps so that they can all share. And there's the members lounge where they all just sit and chat about racing. And then there's a football lounge where they can sit and talk about football. And that's what it's all about. It's just like a little small community. But anyway, I'll waffle on. Right, so as you can see in the background, that is my Twitter profile. There's my mouse there. Right, Twitter profile. Not sure if you can even see that. Down here, so in the actual title, which you probably cannot see at all. I know everyone's probably saying make it bigger. Right, in the title here, you can see there's my YouTube channel. So below here, I haven't actually put it in. It would have made sense for me to put it in. There in here from 3 p.m. today, there will be the Patreon link. All you do is go on there, click it. £7.50 a month. It works out at £9. I explain to people with Patreon, the people we use take £1.50. Nothing I can do about that. So you go in there and then you get sent the link to go in the Discord, and then bang, you're in straight away. It's not something I'll wait a few days. You'll get it straight away, and then you'll be in for any sort of anti-post selections, chats about Cheltenham, because obviously Cheltenham 2024. Now we've got all the information. We'll be chatting about Cheltenham 2024, where we think a few horses are going and what sort of free bets you can get on over the next 6 months on which races. And obviously all the day-to-day selections from both MTN and Algo. And I'm not going to stand here and sell it because I've talked about it loads of times. There are other videos if you do want to watch on my YouTube. There's one telling you exactly what the Discord does. It's a screen video, so it will show you how it all works. And there's another one of me explaining what it all is. But the bottom line is £7.50. Click the link, you're in. Right then, so before we go on to the Guineas for the weekend, let's start with a review of Punchestown Festival. Just get the results up. I'm not going to go through everything. I don't need to go through every single handicapper and tell you a horse is really well handicapped, because these horses aren't going to run till October, November time. So people are going to forget, not care, and all the works. So we're just going to stick to the bigger results. So day one was obviously Tuesday. And on Tuesday we saw Facile Vega. Facile Vega returned. Diverge, I thought Diverge had a big chance in this race. I'm not going to lie. I put him up in the without favourite mark. If he could kick on for Cheltenham, and I don't know whether it was a combination of it was too much for him at Cheltenham and he just bought balloons here, or it was just a poor ride. Either way, like Patrick Mullins he rode him like the tail was on fire. He just went off from the start. He was never going to last home. It was a bit like a Facile Vega ride, to be honest. And I don't know whether he'd been told to be that prominent. I know they said they were going to make more use of him, but he literally was a perfect pacemaker for Facile Vega and Ilite Tom to sit behind. And there was only going to be one forecast as soon as he went out like a light. Facile Vega's done it well again, wins easily, 7.5 lengths. Only concern with Facile Vega is it reminds me a bit like Appreciate It. Like he is literally just going around thumping the same horses again and again. Like Facile Vega's now he's beat Ilite Tomps. That's the second time he's beat Ilite Tomps. And obviously Ilite Tomps beat him once. Is he a good horse? Yeah, he's a very good horse. I do have a lot of respect for him. I know I put up on Twitter that he was slightly hyped, and he is hyped. There's no getting away from that. And I'd admit that I was one that I thought was hype, and it's only through disappointment because of the fact that I thought he was going to be like the next big thing. Is he still a very good horse? Will he be a big player next year? 100%. I'm not saying that at all. I just thought he could be one of those, like a Constitution Hill. But as soon as after the bumpers, I started thinking at the start of the season there could be a few chinks, and there was. Did he show us anything we don't really know? No, probably not. But I do think he would have been better here than he was at Cheltenham, just because he had a better prep coming in. Ilite Tomps, obviously, he's come up from the juvenile division and not disgraced himself. Picked up a Group 1 and ran well all season. Found a 50, he's just been either flopped in the last 2 times or he's been found out. Facile Vega next year. Me personally, I think Willie's got a bit of a bee in his bonnet about everyone going on about Facile Vega, 1 needing soft ground and 2 needing stepped up in trip, which has meant he's bent over backwards to ensure that he stayed at 2 miles and stayed this supreme trip. I think next year you'll just see him go straight for the Arkle prep. It won't matter if Constitution Hill goes over fences. I still think you'll see him in the Arkle. I know a few people are saying Turners, and he might. Obviously, I just put a claimer out here. All of these things, I am genuine. A lot of people want to sit on the fence and say, "Oh, he might go here, he might go there." Everything I'm saying, I'm literally just speaking out loud. So if you want to come back at me in 6, 7 months when Willie Mullins says he's going to the Brown Advisory, that's fine. But I'm not telling you to back these horses. I'm just telling you, pure and simple, this is where I think they're going based on trainer habits, where they like to go, and all of the likes. Horses that run in the Supreme generally are then aimed at the Arkle. The fact that he's kept him at 2 miles here when he could have stepped up to 2 mile 4 and switched it around with Perry Pass would say to me that this horse is most likely to go to the Arkle, with or without Constitution Hill. Because if Constitution Hill stays champion hurdler, then it sounds like Marine National will go to the Arkle. If he goes to the Arkle, then Facile Vega will then go and take on him in the Arkle. If Constitution Hill switches over to go to the over fences and decides to go to the Arkle, then Facile Vega will probably still take on him, because otherwise he'd have to be coming back to go to Champion Hurdle and take on Marine National, who he's already lost to anyway. So it's like I do think he's going to be a good horse. He's going to pick up Group Ones. He could end up being a bit like a Min, where he just wins everything bar when he meets one of those monsters like a Constitution Hill or a Marine National. I've got Marine National in the highest set of regard now. Um, I do think he is a top horse. So the bottom line is, me personally, I think he's likely to go to the Arkle. If you want to back him for that, I can't put you off. But there's a lot of water to go under the bridge. And obviously he has got to beat either Marine National or Constitution Hill, whoever goes there. Enigamine, another brilliant victory. A lot of people will see this and be like, "Oh God, that was awful," and all that sort of thing. It's just one of those days where you were not at your best, but you got the job done. And that's something that you have to appreciate in racing. Different horses take to different ways. Like you look back to in the Clarence House Chase in February when he got beat at Cheltenham, or it might have been the end of January, where he got beat at Cheltenham. And everyone was like, "Oh, that's it, he's done, he's an old horse," and all of this sort of thing. And he bounced back and won the Champion Chase in no uncertain terms. And whilst obviously it did fall apart, he got his soft conditions and all the works. He would have had a hard race there. And I know it's 5 to 6 weeks. You're talking 5 to 6 weeks on a horse that is now, I think, 9 years old. 9 years old. So 6 weeks on a 9-year-old. Like, you're not talking, these aren't easy turnarounds. I say 9-year-old, he's about to turn 10 in June. So he is an old boy. So 6 weeks to come out and then Chacun Poursoir, who's been pretty awful all season but loves this meeting, to come out and to still manage to get the job done, because he did nothing right there. He didn't jump. Like, it was almost like you would have thought if you'd put different silks on him, you would have thought it was a different horse. But it's just his pure class. What will happen next year? I think he'll get campaigned a little bit more album photo-y, as in they'll pick their battles, they'll get him ready a bit better, and they'll go a little bit more sparingly, and they'll have him primed for March. Me personally, I find it hard to see. I know Willie's obviously broke his stranglehold on the Champion Chase, but I find it hard to see that he's going to win another Champion Chase as a 10-year-old, with the likes of El Fabiolos, John Bonds, and all the lights coming up through. I think El Fabiolo looks an absolute monster. I think the biggest problem for him is that he just does not do anything like a 2-miler. So anyway, I'll go to him anyway later, because obviously we're going to talk about him later on. But Enigamine, bottom line, would I back him in Champion Chase? No. Is he a likely winner of Champion Chase? Potentially still, if he's still there, and depending on who turns up. But would I take 3-1 now? No, I wouldn't. Just because, one, because of his age. Two, he's had the conditions fall perfectly on the Wednesday. For whatever reason, we've had like awful weather on both. I was there both last year and the year before when Tiger Roll got beat, and both of them have been awful conditions. You just turned up at the track and you just thought it's his day and Delta Works day, and they got the conditions both times. Right, quick flick through. Right, so the Champion Novice Chase, so the 3-mile event. Like, one, I said at the start, Sergio Hard going the wrong way and 3 miles. That wasn't for me. I think he's more 2 mile 4 and Ryanair. If he's going to win anything, I think it'll be a Ryanair. But like, I know it's been an interrupted campaign, but he's not done anything to say to me he looked a good horse. I thought he could have been a Ryanair player. Wouldn't surprise me if he bounces back and looks much better next year. I think he's just been rushed for like 4 or 5 runs. Appreciate it is just, it wouldn't surprise me if he was retired this year. Brilliant horse in his day, but people just forget, like, they're like, "Oh yeah, but what about his Supreme?" Like, he's about to turn 10. His Supreme win was over 2 years ago, and he was beating the same horses, the likes of Ballyadam, Blue Lord, when he was a weak, fragile horse, and he was beating the same horses 3 or 4 times in the COVID season when you've only got 8 runners. I just think he's just not that great a horse. And James de Burle, again, is very similar, overrated. The fact that Farinelli raced in the mare's bumper at the DRF and since then has gone for a hurdle race, a novice chase race, and then steps in here for 3 miles and wins this on his second start as a Group 1 says this is not a good race. Farinelli might be a great horse and obviously was getting weight and stuff, but it just says it's not a good race to me. Be interesting to see how they're going to campaign that now because obviously they've got their Group 1 in the bag, but they can no longer run in novice races. Right then, on to day 2, Wednesday. Bullyborn Belter. Go on, my son. Absolutely hacked up. Sandor Clegane won very well. That was a solid. I say solid. That was actually a very good win for a horse that doesn't win too often. I'd say not lightly campaigned because obviously it had 5 runs last year, but for me that just bolsters the stay away Fay form. Obviously finished third, was kind of unlucky in the Albert Bartlett, wasn't obviously given a clean run, but you may never get a clean run. And stay away Fay was out there long enough for you to take a charge at. The fact that like as in literally the whole straight you could have gone past and they didn't manage to get past. So for me, while Sandor Clegane can definitely improve, and I don't know prices for Brown Advisory, and could be a player in the staying trips next year. One, obviously enjoyed the relish back to 2 mile 4 furlongs, but two, it's a big form boost for Stay Away Fay. I know Stay Away Fay got beat at Aintree, but at the end of the day, that was by Apples Away and the Donald McCain horse finished second, and both of those two came into the race fresh. So you could argue that one, it's a form boost for Stay Away Fay, and two, it's a form boost for the horses like Apples Away. So either way, I'm always looking to the horses that obviously have finished in behind. I think Cheltenham form is king, and if you finish in front or behind, you work backwards from that. Again, just my opinions, but there's going to be some big players around that area. So from the Sandor Clegane winning, obviously looks a player next year, could improve for a fence and be a big player. But what I take from that is good form boost for Stay Away Fay, who I'd easily forgive Aintree run after a big, like that was a monster performance at Cheltenham to stay out in front so long. And then exactly the same for Apples Away, who obviously won the Aintree for Lucinda Russell. Same connection as the one with not Brave Man's Game, Ahoy Senor. But no plans on where they're going with that yet. Grange Clare West, I couldn't have picked it pure and simply because you were guessing. A horse that kept flopping, and Mullins was like, I've got him back where I expect him. And in fairness to Mullins, this week, like that, his comments and stuff pre-race, whether it's in a blog or Sporting Life or anything like that, he was very on it with like his things. And as I said this in my blog, I've said this at the start of the season last year. Mullins is changing the way he's profiling, campaigning his horses, in the fact that he's starting them a lot later in the year. Like we're getting to like December and you haven't seen any of his novices, and all the ones for like, I remember when that Nicky Henderson horse was favourite and everyone was licking their lips at 5-1, 6-1, me included. And then once it met a good horse, it just got banged out the back of the TV. And then Mullins started taking the wraps off all his, like the likes of Impere Passes and Facile Vegas and stuff like that. And all he's doing is he's just moved everything over. So he used to start October, November, do one run, Christmas, do a run, then peak at DRF, peak at Cheltenham, and then it was will he or will he not be ready for Punchestown. But by starting that bit later and starting towards the end of December, he's getting that one run in there, and then they're coming to Punchestown, DRF, and normally he's like 90-95% for their second run. And then bang, 100% Cheltenham, and then finishing here probably 95% again, which is enough to get most of them through. And just on another note, just go back to that, of this week, I think there was 11 odds on shots, 10 of them won this week. It was an incredibly kind week to punters, and plenty of them did plenty wrong, like the likes of Enegamine. And the only one who nearly still got away with it was Galloping Deschamps, and that was the only one that got beat, which I think a lot of punters would have avoided because of the price. But I think on the general, a lot of the odds on shots, they did the job. And Mullins, obviously, most of them were Mullins, and that's my point exactly. I think normally we used to come in here and everyone's like, oh, this is the next big thing, and then it gets turned over by its third or fourth stablemate from the Mullins yard, and then roll into October next year, and the one who was the good horse at Cheltenham turns out to be the good horse again, just needed a 6-month break. So anyway, I digress. On to the Irish Mirror Novice Hurdle, 3 mile Gaelic Warrior. I'm not going to say I got this wrong. I just thought he was worth taking on because he's got a keen nature and he was stepping up to 3 miles. But on the other side of it, I did get it wrong because even though I was taking him on just on a price perspective, like this was a monster performance. There's no getting away from it. It's not like at one stage he was hampered, he was stuck in behind, he didn't know where to go and everything, and he has absolutely destroyed this field. And going back to the form lines, that Affidel Fury, who finished 10 lengths in behind and was 6 lengths ahead of Franciscan Rock, so that's 16 lengths back to third, bearing in mind how hampered he got. Affidel Fury finished second, I think, in the Albert Bartlett behind Stay Away Faye. So to put that into context, like that is form that is miles ahead. Well, not miles ahead, but obviously Affidel Fury may have ran below and Gaelic Warrior may have ran to level, but that's some strong form. Um, and then straight away, I looked at the markets and he was 20 to 1 for the stayers, and I just thought, bang, bang, that's it. And then in the back of my head, it just went ching, and it was the Gaelic Warrior, Cheltenham, 0 for 2, second, likes jumping the wrong way out wide. And that's always going to be stuck in my head. He is getting better. He is doing it a lot less. Punchestown's going to suit him down to the ground. Cheltenham, for whatever reason. I just think he needs to be £3 to £5 minimum better than whatever he's racing. And in an awful stayers division at the moment, and Cider Burley could well retire, he could well be that. But the other thing you've got to remember as well is, if he does go to the stayers, is that wasn't a sort of stayers sort of race. That was brilliant, like a Forheen style 3 mile, as in strong on the bridle, hard held, skip past them, see you later. But a lot of the stayers, like you look at the side of Burleys, the big bucks, the Paisley Parks, they're not winning these races on the bridle. You will come off the bridle, whether it's soft ground, good ground. If you go fast, you will come off the bridle. Like even like was it Annie Power? I think Annie Power might have rode in 3 miles. You will come off the bridle and you will be tested. And if you don't find off the bridle, that's what you've got to have. You've got to have both. Like they won't be able to go at a dawdle and stuff like that. So he has a very strong chance. I'm not going to stand here and tell you not. And if you want to back him, get him on the free bet train or whatever, then fill your boots. But obviously he has got those two concerns. One, Cheltenham going the wrong way around the track. And two is the fact that we don't know how much he finds off the bridle properly yet, because a lot of his races he comes there on the snaff at the last and wins then. And he's also 0 for 2 at Cheltenham. And you can say what you like, but he got beat by Brazil in a handicap with about £20 in hand. So he might be a horse that just always finds a way to get himself beat. But yeah, he is a massive player. If you're getting like eights bigger, like that's fair enough. I mean, and obviously if Mullins says, oh, he's going there, and it comes to the next season, he'll be like 3 or 4 to 1 probably. So whether you like him or not, you've got to make your choice. But you've got to remember as well, stayers is always competitive, so that it'll always probably be 4 to 1 the field, just like it was this year. So there's no real rush. But if you've got free bets, bang away, whatever you want. But as I've said, you've got your negatives. You don't know when. Like there's horses like Blazing Cow that could have been much better. Like as in, if Blazing Cow had gone there with a better prep, like he could be better next year if he goes that way. Galloping Des Champs and Brave Man's Game. My word, did I get some flipping comments like people saying, "Oh, how can you back a horse at this price? How can you do that?" Look, at the end of the day, all I was doing was trying to share. So I'd backed Galloping Des Champs at 3 to 1 the moment he won the Gold Cup. I've said this in my blog a million times. 9 out of 10 times I'm going to back the 1-2 of the Gold Cup. And everyone gives out about it. They're like, they won't train on, they don't do that. And I appreciate that. Some do not train on, some do. The likes of like your Mike Bites and stuff. But there's a very difference in sort of Gold Cups. Like the Gold Cup they had was as fair as you like. It was as good a playing surface as you could get. The good to soft, a perfect, really fast gallop. No incidents, as in for the two, as I'm talking Brave Man's Game and Galloping Des Champs. No incidents for either of them in the race. They just got to ride their race to their maximum. And they'd have both been gunned to 110%. And both of them did exactly that. They came here, and there's people now like, they're like, oh yeah, like I told you, you can't back this, you can't. Look, at the end of the day, I was like, there's a reason why Galloping Des Champs is still stuck at 2 to 1 for the Gold Cup. Like, it's not just me that thinks you don't just lose it overnight. That race could not have gone any more perfect or fast or slow. And the fact that Brave Man's Game and Galloping were obviously paying attention to each other, there was no pace in the race. That's nothing like a Gold Cup. A Gold Cup is woof from the front, faster and faster and faster. Whereas in this race, there was zero pace, which meant Brave Man's Game had to make the running. I think the difference is if you took out Brave Man's Game or Galloping Des Champs, whoever it was would have beaten fast or slow. But because obviously both of them were so het up on getting to each other, I actually thought Galloping Des Champs jumped better than he did at Cheltenham on that first circuit, and he was more in touch and he was behind the bridle and stuff. Coming up to like the 2 fences out, when Brave Man's Game started pushing along, because he was very wary Galloping was coming alongside him. Just the difference is they just didn't have their push, the final push. And that's all it was. Do I think now that Fast or Slow is going to win a Gold Cup? No. At the same time, could he? Of course he could. Like, let's have a look at. Obviously, I know he's unexposed, but he is only a 7-year-old, and that's not turning 7. But like, you look at some of his other performances this year. Like he was beaten 21 lengths by Galloping Des Champs earlier this year. He was beaten 26 lengths by Gentleman de Me. And you look at his campaign in 2 mile 4, 2 mile 1, and then stepped up to 3 miles at the Cheltenham Festival. And who did he finish behind at the Cheltenham Festival in the Ultima? None other than the monster Corach Rambler. And he gave him £4 on the day. So the downside for this, for me, for this race, is that I was hoping that even if he didn't win, that Corach Rambler would go the national campaign and he'd get like a stealthy prep. But if you're connected to Corach Rambler and you've just seen the second in the Ultima win this race, beating those two, obviously you can't take that form collaterally, but the chances are they're going to try Corach Rambler, give him a few goes in the Group 1 towards a Gold Cup, aren't they? The flat staying race, Tully Hill was a monster drifter. I mean, I took him on and he was a monster drifter. He went all the way out to 11-2, but he ran an absolute monster race. But he just came up against an absolute machine in A Dream to Share. There's not much I can, like, so rare you see horses demolish the bumper scene like he has. Why I haven't cottoned on the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time. Like, it's crazy, really. Like, I even had the tweet ready to go. As soon as he won at the DRF, went to Cheltenham, and the stats were pointing so strongly. It's like 6 or 7 winners came from that DRF win. He wins there. And then obviously you look at the stats again, Cheltenham's Punchestown. It was just because he was short. He was 6-4, sent off 8-11. He looked in trouble, found too much, still got the job done. Where he goes next year, not a clue. He'd obviously be a big player in the Supreme or the Ballymore, depending on if they see him as more staying. My only thing to say is the fact that it's just worth bearing in mind. Like, I'm not saying don't back these horses, because you definitely should, but just be very sparing. Don't go and back them all, because last year we hadn't seen Marine Nationale yet. We hadn't seen Impere Pass yet. We probably haven't seen Stay Away Faye. A lot of these horses that win the Supremes and the Ballymores, they're coming from left field. They might not have had a bumper campaign. So you're just looking at the best of the bumpers, the Facile Vegas. So, but it's clearly a very useful horse. And my word, JP's purchases, he's probably had his money back for once for some of these purchases. Right then, on to Thursday. Handicap. Oh man, Dino Blue and Douglas Talking. That was painful. Douglas Talking. I just think he wanted a more prominent, more push ride. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Dino Blue was obviously still very well handicapped and beat him anyway. But again, I said that on the day straight away, how good is Impervious? And long and behold, like, she is just an absolute machine. But she's the next day, so I'll keep my mouth shut. Yeah, Dino Blue, still well handicapped. Should have won at Cheltenham when you look back now and see what she's done since. Champion Stayers Hurdle. I put up 2 horses on this anti-post, 9-2 Classical Dream and 14-1 Ashdale Bob. Obviously, and that was through the Discord group, and then I tweeted them on the day, but they were just shorter prices by the time I tweeted them. Classical Dream just did the same as what he did the year before. He's a horse that just, the track just suits him. I took him on the year before and I laid him because he was a very short price, and I thought Ashdale Bob should have beaten him. This year, Ashdale Bob, I thought he had a bad ride last year. This year, I thought he was even more troubled ride. I just wanted to see him make more of him. He should have been in the places at least. I was right to take on Tiapu. I don't really rate the horse anyway. I never have. But that is obviously hugely disrespectful because he came into the best piece of form, having beaten Honeysuckle and Classical Dream. But at the same time, as I've said a million times, I haven't got the stats on my hand, but he's got something like 2 runs on good, and he was pretty much last and second last. They were big races, like say the Champion Hurdle and the Irish Champion Hurdle, but all his runs with soft in the title, he is bang there, and this just wasn't it. The ground had gone against him, good to yield in. So I'm not saying I won't be backing him in future, one, because his price will be bigger and he'll get his conditions, but just on the day it was obvious to take him on. Classical Dream, done the job 3 times in a row now. Good horse. Right then, on to the monster that is El Fabiolo. This, honestly, obviously, I put him up at the start of the season at 8-1. I've backed him every start since his Aintree start when he finished second to John Bon over hurdles when I thought he should have won. He just blows my mind in the way that, like, I am massive on my 2 mile chasers, as many people have obviously followed and seen. Like, I normally get them first, and I'm a fair bit ahead of the game. And we did have him at 7 or 8-1. He even went as big as like 8 or 9-1 before the DRF after his debut. Even though he won it, they just thought it wasn't a clean debut. But he just blows my mind because I look at all the old Arkle horses and champion chasers and stuff that I've backed, like the Shishkins, the Altiors, Sprinter Sacras, and all of them have got something in common, that they travel so strongly, they jump so cleanly, they're so nimble. It's like bang bang. Altior's slightly different because he found a lot off the bridle, but generally a lot of them aren't asked too much off the bridle. The likes of Sprinter Saka, I can't even remember him coming off the bridle. Shishkin was very similar. He didn't really need to come off the bridle. It was a little bit of a nudge and gone. But El Fabiolo, like he's still like it's not that he's just built like such a tank that he looks like he's clipping every single fence. Like I need to go to like one of these Irish meetings over in Punchestown or whatever and watch him jump a fence, because you watch it on TV and he looks like he's taking a little bit of the birch each time. Like I don't know if he's just so close, but it doesn't stop his momentum, and he's never looked like he's going to fall. He just does not look like he's clean and he's gaining advantage and stuff at the thing. But his engine is monstrous, absolutely monstrous. Like Dysart Dynamo, this track could not have suited better. He had everything in his favour. He's a fast, swift jumper. See, he's like a 2 miler, fast, swift jumper from the front, ping, ping, ping. El Fabiolo was plodding around out the back, and I was just thinking, flipping heck, I said he's let him get some run on him. Obviously, Paul Townend is so good, but there was not a moment's sweat. He just literally went back to him, and as soon as he gives him a nudge, it's like big bucks, but over 2 miles, he's just gone. It's like see you later, and. And if you were still looking at this sort of race, you'd be questioning going into like the Cheltenham. But the fact that he's done it on the big stage, he's always going to get that Cheltenham hill. So coming up that Cheltenham hill, like he's always going to get that time to find his massive stride. And I did say to loads of, like I said, I put up in our group, it was 9-2 to win, and then to win at Cheltenham. And then I've mentioned it to people online as well. I said you might want to look at William Hill specials, but after getting an absolute barraging from galloping the day before, I didn't want to go too over the top because people just didn't seem to. My concept with the whole William Hill specials, just to clarify here, I'm no affiliate. I've nothing to do with William Hill. I just use that because that's what I can use. Is the fact that you don't want to back a 1-4 shot. You don't want to back a 5-2 shot to win the champion chase. But by putting those both together, it ends up you're backing the equivalent of like a 1-2 shot with the 5-2, which combines to 9-2, which is a much better value bet. You don't suddenly lump on and get loads more money on. It's just the fact that if you would have normally had a tenner on El Fabiolo if he was a 1-2 shot, then you just put that tenner on that instead. It wasn't like, I'm not here to tell people how to bet. That's what I was getting at when so many people were coming at me with the whole galloping idea. If he'd won, it would have been fine. It was only because he'd lost that people got so irate about it. But anyway, going back to El Fabiolo, he's going to be a tough nut to crack in the champion chase. I don't know what to say, because I don't look at him and say he's the next Shishkin, the next Enik, like a 2 mile natural 2 miler. But he loves the mud, so there's a bit of cut, and which obviously the last 2 years has been the same. And if him and Enik go at it, that is going to be some race. I mean, I want to be on his side just because of the youth, and they may end up meeting before then. But I think Mullins might well keep him apart, like he normally does with his 2 milers. And he wouldn't like have an issue with a Ryanair or whatever, but he's just too good that you can't go for the champion chase. And I think he takes the beating at the moment. I know his price has got a lot shorter now. It'll be interesting if John Bond renews his rivalry. Obviously, John Bond. I'm not going to say actually. I need to stick one at a time. We'll get to Saturday. Right. So anyway, yeah, El Fabiolo, good horse. Kilcrook, very frustrating. I had many messages saying Kilcrook, the day is today, and I just didn't want to go with the info. I just wanted to go with the form book, and I thought the other Mullins horses weren't too far behind. He wins by 15 lengths, hard held at 11-4. Impervious, my word, she may even be getting better. Like I thought, maybe at the end of a hard season, and especially obviously on faster ground, she may struggle a bit, but she looked even better here. My issue is like I looked before race, after race, and all before. I thought, how can you get on this for Cheltenham to get a good price? Because you're not going to get a good price on her again. And the bottom line is, I just find it very difficult. I'd love to see her go to Mayor's Chase, but I think she'll be campaigned in with the boys next year. And if she starts holding her own, which I'd imagine she very much will with her £7 allowance, then she's going to be going in the big boys. She'll be going into things like like a Ryanair, or I can't imagine she's a Gold Cup horse. But then again, is a Ryanair any more prestigious than a Mayor's Chase? I don't know. I think they're both grade 2s off the top of my head. I don't 100% know. But I don't know. As soon as you get the word, as soon as it comes out, I mean, even if she was say 2-1 or 5-2 or whatever, like that's still not a bad price for her. You basically get paying on her getting there. But the thing is, there will be loads more mares to come, and it's not because it's a Willie Mullins one. If it was a Willie Mullins one, you'd know that he'd campaign a lot of his other mares in different areas, to obviously because he knows he's got that one. But because it's not a Willie Mullins one, he's going to be throwing everything he's got. Like Allegory Devassi's ended up quite disappointing. Like I thought she was going to be a monster, but Impervious literally is just she's destroyed her at Cheltenham, which has kind of derailed her completely. I mean, she didn't even get second here again. That Instit improved, and I think Instit is not a very good horse. Not okay, sorry, that's disrespectful. Not that she's not a very good horse. She's just not Group One level compared to the likes of Impervious. Like obviously, if you take Impervious out of this race, Instit would have won this as a Grade Two at 9-2. Um, so, but again, these are just my opinions. I still can't believe. I still pinch myself the fact we're 28-1, and that was back when you could like boost it, so it was even bigger than that. 28-1 we got for the Mare's Chase. Roll on the same again this year. When she beat none other than Dino Blue. Coming to 2 out, Dino Blue was absolutely rocketing, ping, ping, ping every fence, and she just came to her and just found more. She's just so gritty. She reminds me of Cole Reevy. That's who, and obviously Cole Reevy at the end of her season, she beat Monkfish and who was the other one? I think it was Envoy Allen. Yeah, I think it was Envoy Allen who was supposed to win the 2 mile 4 but fell. Monkfish did win the 3 miles, and Cole Reevy beat them both with her weight allowance. This could, and Purvis could well be very similar. State Man, what more can I say? Normally, Irish Champion hurdles, that would be an absolute no-go for me. I'd be skipping that all day. You just wouldn't want you wouldn't want to get involved with that style of horse, having had a hard race at Cheltenham, because the bottom line is that you'd be worried about where. Oh, 2 seconds. You'd be worried about where the horse's head's at mentally, physically, strength, and all of the things, because it's such a hard race. If he's had a proper hard race, but as I said, as a Constitution Hill backer, the moment that State Man let Constitution Hill go, I was just like, this is absolutely brilliant. I thought you're never ever going to pass him, letting him have first run on you, and obviously he didn't. But Paul Talon just let him coast home. I think going forward, the fact that Mullins has now said, I said he could be an Arkle horse, and obviously he would be a monster in the Arkle. And he is a brilliant horse because he's demolished these once more. And again, I know he's obviously beaten Vauban 3 times or whatever. And it's like Honeysuckle. Everyone was knocking Honeysuckle all the time, but State Man does it, and he's a brilliant horse. So the issue is, obviously he is beating all the same horses. Is that I think if they raced against Constitution Hill again, I think they'd change tactics. Like I couldn't get that. I was literally when I saw that, Constitution Hill was one of my biggest bets at the festival, and when I saw that, I was just like, oh my! It was literally like you'd had all your wishes come true when he lined up on the outside. So, but because they let him coast home, I thought there's no way he's not going to come here fresh enough. Like he was like 4-6 when the markets opened for this, which was a mad price to beat the same horses. I mean, Colonel Mustard, who's been the Admiral prize money horse, finished third. So yeah, State Man, brilliant horse. It sounds like he's going to stay over hurdles. They were talking about the Aintree hurdle and all sorts. He'll just go on mopping up everything that the big boys aren't in. Champion Novice Hill, Impere Pass. So again, this is going back to similar to what I said before. A good horse getting the job done when they're not on their A game. Didn't jump, didn't travel, didn't look anything like the Cheltenham horse that we saw before. Willie Mullins' comments afterwards, he was almost mortified. He just couldn't understand it because he thought the horse looked so like bang on the money since Cheltenham, and he said he was one of the ones that came out of the race best, and that he was like, as in he was ready for an explosive performance, and for whatever reason just didn't fire. But he was just too good. That he's just like, and we're not talking about too good like beating average horses. Like Champ Kylie is obviously a Group One winner already, having beaten Irish Point, who picked up the either a Group One or Group Two. Was it Group One or Group Two? He won at Aintree. So he picked up a Group One at Aintree. So Champ Kylie, that form is absolutely rock solid, and he put him away 11 lengths easily. And obviously High Definition, who Facile Vega have been messing around. This is an incredibly good horse, but for whatever reason, this is what I was saying with how lucky the punters have been. In the past, he would have ran like that and he would have gotten beaten, but for whatever reason, he just found more. This is still a monster of a horse. I think if you were worried about, like, if you've backed him for something like the Turners or whatever, I think I'd be more inclined to say that you're in the right boat now. Obviously, again, these are just my personal preferences, like personal views. I'm not saying that's where he goes, because obviously it's Willie Mullins. He hasn't even said he goes over fences. But after this, I can see one that he could go to fences because he's got plenty of scope and he's got plenty of horses that he could do down the hurdling route. And two, he needed every yard of that 2 mile 4 to get up. The difference was Mullins said, oh, I thought that Cheltenham, the hill suited him a lot better and accelerated how good he was. Because you've got to remember, at Cheltenham, who he was beating, he absolutely obliterated none other than Gaelic Warrior, 6.5 lengths. So he beat Gaelic Warrior the same distance as what he beat High Definition. So you look through his 4 races so far for Mullins, and no horse has got within 6 lengths of him. So he is an absolute monster. And many were thinking he was going to go champion hurdle route. But the fact that Mullins has said he's likely that he's going to keep State Man hurdling, that would say to me he's going to be one of his hurdlers, and then he'll probably keep someone else. And if Facile Vega goes to the Arkle, then maybe Impere Pass might end up in the Turners. Just my views, obviously. I wouldn't put anyone off having a few free bets over the thing. It's on the line. Very, very progressive horse. Got up over my other selection. Got a forecast in this. That's Borselay. Borselay, I feel sorry for the connections. Obviously, they've put their all into it, and they've been done twice by this. Last year it was Billaway, got up on the line in the last jump. This year it was It's on the Line. It's on the Line is very interesting. Like you cannot, like, I've put this up in the group earlier straight after the race. I think it was 8-1 for the Hunter's Chase. You're not all going to be able to get on it because the markets depend on where you can get. And I don't think it's a bad bet because the horse is only, I think it's a 6 year old. Yeah, 6 year old, so he'll be 7 in May. Most of these horses are like 10, 11. So, and the fact he came second, running on from the clouds at Cheltenham, fell in Aintree, and then came here and managed to find so much off the bridle to win. Like, I just think it looks a very progressive horse, and it was 40 lengths back to third. And don't get me wrong, maybe I was fortunate because maybe the actual winner was going to be Animix. But the thing is with Animix, when I looked back Animix, who's around 16 to 20 to 1, is Animix is already, I think, 11 or a 12-year-old. So next year be another year older. Will the horse be there? Will it be in the same form, etc., etc.? Could well be. I'm not saying it's not, but that's why I just thought young progressive horse. It'd be disappointing. Like Vorselay went to the festival last year, having not obviously after finishing second in this race, raced once at Christmas under rules and won, and then went to the festival and was about, I think it was about 5-2, something like that for the. In fact, I'll tell you what price it was. 9-4, sent off 9-4, and had only run two races, one in October. Oh, yeah, that last season, one in October and then one in December under rules, and then at the festival was sent off 9-4 favourite. So this horse, like at 8-1, I'd be surprised if it's not going off shorter. But do you want to get involved with Fox Hunters? Probably not. But at the same time, I just thought it's a loyalty bet because it's done me proud. And also, I just thought it was overpriced. It could easily be a lot shorter. And this is the time when you get your free bets and stuff. But that's already gone to the Discord group, so I can share that now because they've had plenty of time if they wanted to get on it. Right then, on to Saturday. We'll go start with Sandown first, just so we get a little quick run through. Right, on to John Bomb. I thought there was many people that didn't see this coming, but I did, but it didn't affect me. Was There's many people that were. It's not their fault either because Henderson did this to me last year. He was adamant about stepping John Bon up in trip and going on and on and on about it, and it put me off backing him for the Arkle. So instead of getting like 10-1 for the Arkle, I ended up getting 4-1. Obviously, it didn't matter, but it was just the way my staking plan fell with El Fabiola and Dysart Dynamo. It would have been easier if I could have got him at a bigger price, but he kept going on about this 2 mile 4. And then he's done the same again and he's tucked people away because he said, oh, we're going to step him up in trip. And then at Aintree, he said yesterday on TV, he said, oh, we went for the easier race at Aintree. And then after Aintree, they're like, oh, well, we thought we may as well roll the dice here. So what he's done, it was easy to see beforehand, was if he could mix it in with these likes, then he's got to be a champion chase horse. And obviously, he did plenty wrong and he stepped into open company and he still got the job done. Like, he made a howler of a mistake that would have finished many races, and he was just too good for him. So the positives are John Bon is a very good horse, only been beaten by Constitution Hill and El Fabiolo. The negatives are if he goes to Champion Chase, he's going to meet El Fabiolo again and probably Energamine, two very good 2 milers. But if he gets better ground, I do think better ground suits him, even though it was good to soft there yesterday. It looked quick. And he's a good horse. You've got to remember as well, the other thing with John Bon is only 7 years old. So there's plenty of improvement. And Henderson's a dab hand with these hurdlers and chasers, 2 milers. So I'm not saying that he can't improve and get onto the level of El Fabiolo and stuff, but I mean, that was something like, obviously I'd backed both in the Arkle, and but I did think El Fabiolo was going to win. And obviously it was 5.5 lengths, but it looked a very dominant 5.5 lengths. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot to make up in a race of that level. So, but at the same time, I don't know what price he is. He was around 10 or 12-1 yesterday. Like that might be fair sort of thing. Like, would you want to get involved at 5 or 6-1? No, because I mean you're looking at 5 or 6-1, or I don't know what price El Fabiolo is now. Probably maybe 2-1 or something. At the end of the day as well, what you've got to remember the Champion Chase market is last year, me being prime as well, I thought it was all sewn up come January. 7-2 on Edwardstone, 2-1 I think it was on Energamine when who was the horse? Oh, was it Shishkin? Shishkin flopped completely, and then so I backed those two and thought, right, that's it, wrapped up. And then obviously they both got beat by Editor de Gite, and I was just like, well, I don't know what's going on now. So just because it looks sewn up, the Champion Chase is a very, very difficult market to nail down. You do get some very spurious results. It's hard to go back to back winners. Like Bar Energamine now, that hasn't been done for a long time. Like obviously, I say a long time. Not Shishkin, Altior did it. But outside of that, there was a lot of good horses. Even Sprinter Sacco didn't do it. It took him 4 years to regain his title. So all I'm saying is Energamine, John Bon, El Fabiolo could be interesting. I'd be with El Fabiolo. Well, I am with El Fabiolo from the 92, but I just wouldn't go diving in personally on John Bon. Not to say I won't be adding him to the team close to the time to take John Bon and El Fabiolo on against Energamine, but we'll see. Hewick, I don't think you could have had any more. The only thing in reality, as I stated in the blog, the only thing you were backing against Hewick was whether he was at his prime, as in, or at a level of fitness enough to take this. Because everything else, you could not have picked a race better for him. He'd already won on this card last year in the handicap, so you knew he was going to handle the ground. He'd won over 2 mile 5, won the Galway Plate, so you knew the trip would be fine. You knew he was going to go prominent, so he was going to be running from the front and test the stamina. The ground was going to be of no issue, as long as he'd recovered from his fall. The weights were incredible. Like he was rated something like, I think he was £10 clear of the likes of First Flow and other horses in behind him. Yet First Flow was giving him like £1 or two. And then you looked at some of the other horses in there as well. Like the likes of like a Solo and stuff like that, they were rated like £15 inferior of him, and he was giving them about £2. Like this was perfect placing, and they got the job done. He did make hard enough work of it, but he got the job done. Not going to go into any others. Good for Nichols. I'm glad he broke his record. He broke it apparently by £74, but for a competitive man like himself, that's brilliant. It just means that one of those like Wincanton second places or whatever has made a difference, and no man deserves it more. He's so hungry for the game, and he deserves it. He's brilliant for horse racing, and he's so competitive. And I love the battles he has with the English and the Irish, and like that, and also the fact he's got some good horses as well. He's got like his Hermes Allen, Brave Man's Game. He's got plenty of armour for next year. Obviously, we had A1 in the handicap. That was brilliant. Not going to go into that in too much depth. Could be a horse for something like the Topham next year, depending on the handicap marks. The one thing I will hold my hands up completely and say I got completely wrong yesterday, and it was a shame because a lot of people would have had it in the ACCAs and it would have just been an absolute screamer of a day. It was amazing. Obviously, 4 out of 6, all huge prices. Well, most were huge prices, but I just couldn't bring myself to back Echoes in Rain. I just thought she was too keen and she does too many things wrong still in her racing. But she improved on the flat in the past, and it just looks like she's improved again over hurdles. Like she is only a 7-year-old, so she's got plenty more racing to come, and she's absolutely demolished them here. I've got no excuses. I think obviously the problem is you argue, well, what is she demolished? Brandy Love has shown nothing. Like her best run was her debut return when she was supposed to be at her weakest, and that was her best run. She's not kicked on at all from that. Epatante is long gone. Her last, since being beat by Constitution Hill twice, she's ran no race since. She's flopped at every mare's hurdle since. 2 mile 4 at Aintree. Love Envoy ran no race. Was running in snatches. Was having to be pushed along to get up front. I didn't think it was fluent at any of her hurdles, and it all just played straight into Echoes in Rain's hand. And if you could have asked Echoes in Rain to have a race ran to suit her, she wears it well going out front. Anna Bonina wanted to go out front. Lev Envoy wanted to be prominent, and Echoes in Rain was just like cheers easy. So yeah, you got that one wrong. Echoes in Rain, is she a player for next year? Yeah, she probably is. I'll see what price she is actually. It's always an Echoes in Rain. No, that can't be right. Jesus. I mean, I don't like the horse, but she's still sat at between 12s to 16s. She's 16 to 1 in her place for the thingy. I do like Astro Diamond. I think Astro... I'm not... I won't go into that one yet because we haven't got to her. Astro Diamond's interesting. As I say, interesting. I think Astro Diamond's got a brilliant chance in the mares. Lev Envoy I wouldn't be having for next year. Marie's Rock looked brilliant, but you don't know whether she's going to stay as. Anyway, this isn't a Cheltenham preview. So, but Echoes in Rain, 12s or 16s. I'm not saying to empty the bank, but if you've got a £5 free bet, I always go to £5 free bets because I don't want people to chuck all their money on stuff. Because the bottom line is, get your £5 free bet. Wow, I'm on for 80 quid or whatever. How much do I want to win general in each race at Cheltenham? I want to win, say, £100 per race at Cheltenham. Okay, so what do I need to put on to get to that? Okay, so I'm now on £70. Put another £5 free bet out. I'm now on over £100. Okay, that horse is covered. On to my next horse. Do not blow that. You don't need these point systems, these magical things that people keep talking about. Think of something that suits you. 28 races. If I want to win £100 in each race, I've got these two horses. How much shall I back them for? Enough to win £100 on those two horses. Okay, £5 free bet. I'm at £70. I need to get the other £30. What shall I do? £2 football accumulator finishes it, £30. Bang, done. Horse, next one. Bang. Don't put all your eggs in your basket yet. Just get a nice baseline of what you like. Don't suddenly think, oh, I need to put 2 points on this, 1 point on this, 0.5 on this. Oh, I've got 3.5 stake there. Forget it, lads. Points is for discipline. Totally appreciate that. And people do need to stick to that if that's what works for them. But when it comes to anti-post, those free bets are golden, little bets are golden. Get a little base layer and then just build over the next 6 months. Don't worry about how many points you've got on set A and set B. Anyway, I'm only saying this because I've been asked so much over the last 7 days. On to champion 4-year-old hurdle. Lossiemouth, machine, monster, whatever you want to call her. It's not just what she's done throughout the season, it's the fact that she is still doing it now. Like, again, this is another one where I talk about where the favourites were very, very kind to punters. You should not be able to still be able to achieve the levels that she's achieving and get up. There was plenty. My concern for her was, one, she's a mare, so they're sometimes temperamental. 2, it was the end of a long season. 3, she was a juvenile. 4, that track was tailor-made for the likes of a Galan Marceau and a Zarek the Brave. Zarek the Brave's a bit like a Lossiemouth, so I take that back. But Galan Marceau, I just thought Zarek the Brave was coming there fresh. But Galan Marceau, in particular, a nice, fast, sharp, round track. You can bang off from the front. That's exactly what Danny Mullins did. But she's just too good. She's an absolute monster. I've got no superlatives. You look at them. I mean, I was on for a fortune at the DRF that obviously I got crooked for, but she paid me back some of it. Well, she paid me back all of it and more at Cheltenham. And this was just brilliant. You could have not had a penny. It was like a honeysuckle moment. In fact, that's probably a bit too far because obviously she's only had 5 runs, but she was fantastic yesterday. What happens next? I mean, I stood here and I said she can't win the mare's hurdle. She doesn't have this. She doesn't have that. I'm not going to say she can or can't. That was her performances so far in her career best. She's as a 143. So I'm just going to put this into context for those that have or are backing her for the mare's hurdle. So 143. If we go to, let's have a look at Love Envoy, who came second in the mare's hurdle this year. So Love Envoy came second in the mare's hurdle behind Honeysuckle this year. In fact, let's go to Honeysuckle because we'll look at her performance. So Honeysuckle proved a 157 and it gave her a 153 was second. So she's got to improve £10 to get a second in the mare's hurdle or £14 in order to win a mare's hurdle. So obviously it's completely not anything that it isn't unachievable. That's 100%. She's definitely got it in her locker. The concern is you look at Vauban. Vauban looked a world beater this time last year. And whilst I thought he ran a brilliant race behind State Man, I didn't mention that. He looked very good behind State Man this year. The concern was the fact that he may not step up. And Mullins has said that he's going to improve, so you can expect him to go up again next year. And that's the same with these. The juveniles are only 4 years old, coming on 5. So you can expect more from her to come, but whether it will come strapped into open company. Like, to put it into context, obviously you could end up, if Willie Mullins won't do this because he'll give her a few easier runs to begin with, but she's in effect going to be taking on the likes of an Echoes in Rain. And an Echoes in Rain is normally averaging, her numbers are 154, 155, 145. So obviously that's one performance below. The rest are 154 and 155. So that would put Lossiemouth having to find nearly a stone. So 10 to £12 on each of those performances. Obviously she's young. It's totally in her reach. I'm not saying it's not. It's just the fact that if you're backing her at 3 to 1 for the mare's hurdle, you are taking quite a few risks there. But at the same time, there's me saying that Mare's Diamond, Astro's Diamond at 7 to 1 isn't a bad price. And I'd imagine, let's have a look at her numbers. Yeah, her numbers are similar. She's on 139. So it's just a big ask. Mares novices and juveniles, because the mare's hurdle is open to all. So you get the likes of an Epitant who may have run in it the last 2-3 years, can still be running in it. You can have the likes of last year's 1-2 and stuff. So that's hence why Marie's Rock was sent off at 5 to 2, because she'd won it last year. She was achieving 150 performances. Whereas all the mares novices, like the likes of a Love Envoy, they have to improve. And as seen last year, Love Envoy did improve. So it's just worth bearing in mind. And it's only because of the fact that it's so short. I'm looking across here, it's 5s in one places, but it's 3 to 1 in others. I mean, me personally, I like the better bets look like some, like obviously the fact you can get 16s on Echoes in rain. I mean, that's quite crazy. 12s in places. Again, not recommended a bet. I'm just saying to you, like, if you want a free bet or whatever, like, I wouldn't be, you don't have to dive in. Cheltenham isn't done overnight. Anyway, that is it. Jump season finished. Where do we go from here? So, if you're coming in the Discord group, I'll put my thoughts up in the next 2 to 3 weeks on where I think horses may go, may not go. But I won't be putting like, bang, you have to back this bet, you have to back this. It will just be, if you want to get your free bets on, do this. If you want to do your free bets, do that. And then I'll probably put some YouTube stuff up saying, oh, like as in a big, I'll probably go through all of Cheltenham on the YouTube at some point. But obviously, after the last 4 weeks, I need a bit of a rest, to say the least. You can see bags under my eyes. I know people think I knock these selections up in 10 minutes and then do the write up in like 5 minutes, but it actually takes hours and hours and hours. But I know people do actually know that, because people send me messages saying how much they appreciate it. So I appreciate everyone. And I'm glad. I'm just glad that people win their money. That's all I want. I just want people to win money and get free things. I want you to have free beers. I want you to get free food. I want you to take your family on holiday. I want you to enjoy things. It costs me nothing to share at the end of the day. Obviously, it costs me my time. It's not going to change the way I bet or what I bet. All I'm doing is just sharing it with other people, hopefully to educate them, not just so that they just go, he's back that, he's back that, he's back that. But that's just, you just learn however you learn. I just wanted someone to do this for me 10 years ago and there wasn't anyone. So hopefully it helps a few people. Right. Just going to have one quick fire through. I haven't done any prep for this. I'm just going to have a quick look. I will be back properly for obviously the 1,000 and 2,000 guineas, but I've brought up the market just because I have a quick fire through. And don't come and complain at me if I've just said to you, this horse won't stay, this horse won't win, and then come Thursday or Friday I've put it up. Tahira, right? So I'm looking at Tahira now. I've just brought Odds Checker up. Tahira, for whatever reasons, 3 to 1, 7 to 2, and is a bit of blue on Odds Checker. This surprises me. This is very un-Dermot World. One, for first time out, and two, to go across the water. Like, I just can't see her travelling. Like, it would blow my mind if she travels. If she travels, then okay, fair enough. You probably do want to get your book out, and maybe that is a big incentive. Because I just for he's got the Irish races. Because she's a Aga Khan horse. They've got the option of France and Ireland, the softer ground, the nicer ground. This just would be very un-Dermot Weld to throw her over here unless she is really working the house down or whatever. It would be a tip in itself, in my opinion. Obviously, my anti-post that I backed was Meditate and Statuette. Statuette's a non-runner, so Meditate I'm still on. You can get 4 to 1 on that. If you hear that Tahira's out, and you know, and Aidan O'Brien said Meditate is going, because this is the difference as well. At Cheltenham, by now they're like, oh, this horse run here, this is there, this is there. We're a week out and we've heard nothing from trainers still. So if you know that Meditate's going and you hear Tahira's out, then Meditate is as solid as they come for this race. Mama's Girl obviously won the prep recently. Richard Hannon talking her up, but he does like to talk many of us up. Remarquee did absolutely loads wrong at Newmarket and still won. My issue would be with her is, can she get her head screwed on quick enough in 2 weeks, because she did a lot wrong there, and it was a monster performance. But if she does all of that wrong again in the 1,000 guineas, it's going to be harder. Electric Eyes is very interesting, just because obviously Carl Burke was phenomenal last year with all his fillies and mares, and if he repeats that sort of thing again this year, it's one of those, once you start seeing them so good with the certain type of horses, eventually they're going to crack it. And I know the 1,000 guineas and classics is another level above. There's nothing to say that he hasn't got one which could be at that level. So she's currently at 14s. I'm not saying for you to go and back all these horses, because a lot of these are going to be first time out, which means that the bookmakers aren't going to have a clue how to price this. So you might have one shorter price favourite, like say a 5 to 2 or 3 to 1 shot, and then the rest maybe like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 1. Some of them might go off 20 to 1. So there's not a massive. It's just, I just want to obviously just try and put context a bit of that. Mauge had brilliant form at Royal Ascot last year, but just kept placing behind horses. But loved the sun on her back for whatever reason, and step up to a mile was very, very impressive out in Meydan. Lazoo, me personally, I don't think she'll stay. And that's as far as I'm going to go with that, because there's loads of them. So my advice would be, if you hear from O'Brien and he says Meditate's definitely going, and then you hear Tahira's definitely not going, then I'd take the 4s. Or I'm already on at 4s, or 4s or 5s. I'd take the 4 to 1 on her. Apart from that, I'd just be sat on my hands and waiting to see what happens. If you know Tahira's out, then you need to really start looking hard on where to go, because the markets will start to crumble around her. On to 2,000 guineas. Again, I'm not going to be able to tell you much I don't already have put up. If you want to moan and complain at me, I'd put up Augusta Road in, like, I think it was May time last year. If you don't believe me, just go to Risk for Rewards, click the search bar and type it in the name, for the 2000 guineas and for the Derby. I can't remember what the price is. I think it's 14s or 16s for the 2000, and then similar for the Derby. The main bet for me was the Derby, just because I thought that would suit him a lot better. However, the record of runners in, what did he win? I think it was a Dewhurst. I can't remember what he won. I haven't looked again. I haven't looked at the form of this. I've got a very good record, but I'm a little bit concerned about him over the trip. Depending on what the ground, we don't know what the ground will be. It could be fast. It could be soft. This country is so unpredictable. Um, right. So don't come at me. One, obviously, if I change my mind come the end of the week, 'cause I have not got the stats. I haven't looked hard. I haven't done everything. I don't even know the final fields. And two, because obviously I'm just doing it off what I've from last year's performances. There's a few horses that I'd say are questionable stayers here. So Augusta Rodin, I'd say, is the opposite. I'd say he'll definitely stay. It's whether the trip's too short for him if the ground is quick. To be honest, I'm not disappointed. I could easily see him winning this. But I think a good to soft ground or whatever would be perfect for him, and he could be the monster. Little Big Bear, I'm not sure whether we'll stay, along with Sakir, who's very keen, and along with Noble Style. Those three would be my three questionables of whether they're going to stay. Chaldine, I don't think I'll have any issue. Just the issue would be what on earth happened the other week with Frankie Dettori. And again, I'm not going to slate anyone, like as in with Frankie. Just have it in your mind, as I said this the other day, is the Frankie situation is a bit like Ronaldo, like where you're getting very close to retirement and then you come back for one last swing. Everyone thinks you've still got your ability that you had 5, 10 years ago. Like I think if you put like a say a William Buick and a Frankie Dettori, Frankie's got all the experience, but his body might not allow him to do certain things, and he's not. I just don't think he's as sharp as he was 5 years ago, and I don't think he. I don't want to slate anyone because obviously he's absolutely brilliant and one of the best of my era. I just don't think he's going to be as sharp. He's not going to be. Just remember that what happened at Royal Ascot last year with John Gosden. I mean, that was a pretty serious incident where there was a few mishaps, and then it was let's take a break and come back to this. And the fact that he's coming on for one last year, that's not me slating any way what happened with Chaldine because I don't understand it. I'm not a horse rider. I don't understand how it happened or what happened. Um, but yeah, so Chaldine has a very, very solid chance. Again, the record of horses, I cannot remember last year what it was that he won, but it's got a very strong race in there because I looked at the stats before he won, before he ran in the Greenham. So Augusta Rodin, very strong chance. Little Big Bear, Sakir, and Noble Style, I question their ability to stay. But when I look into it further, I may be wrong, but they wouldn't be top of my list. Chaldean, as solid as they come, providing he hasn't got over that issue. Royal Scotsman, I'm not 100% sure he's anything more than a place horse. Like he could improve, but he liked getting placed last year. And then Slip of the Pen, I think this will come way too soon if he even takes part. So but the market's actually quite small when you look. If you end up losing a few like a Noble Style and stuff, you've not actually got many in here. You might end up having only about 4 or 5 in with a chance and a field of maybe just over 10, but quite a few outsiders. So that's probably why Augusta Rodin's getting chopped in. So if he's going, then 2-1, he may be going. A Little Big Bear might not go. I've got no idea. I'm just literally just spitballing. So I'm going to stop. So anyway, thank you very much. Obviously, I am Risk for Rewards. I hope everyone enjoyed Cheltenham. It was great seeing you all there, all at the festival. Hope you enjoyed the Grand National. Hope you enjoyed the Punchestown. We go again for Cheltenham 2024. It doesn't stop. We go again and we get all the free bets on over the year, get nice pots built up on certain horses. And then when it restarts, we go again. But there is going to be anti-post, loads of anti-posts throughout all the summer for all the Royal Ascot horses and all the horses on the flat. For the 2,000 guineas, 1,000 guineas, exactly the same way as obviously I've got Augusta Rodin now at 16s and 14s. It'll be exactly the same for things like the Arc. So we're not stopping, we're just changing codes. So I hope you all have a good weekend. Enjoy the bank holiday. Make sure you take a break from all the racing, betting, and all of that because you'll be high on dopamine and going absolutely mental from hopefully having a few winners this week. Just enjoy yourselves, and I'll be back probably Thursday or Friday ready for 1,000 and 2,000 guineas. Goodbye.